our audience is agents, right? So people listening to this are agents. So what would you say? There's probably people out there who are like, people who are afraid of either paying for leverage or trusting someone else. Like, what would you say to those people having the experiences that you have?
So just with the numbers that Ali gave you at the beginning, I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. When it came to being 2 years in and selling 45 houses, I realized very early my income pretty much doubles, or it can even quadruple based off those transaction managers, the listing coordinator. It's the team.
This is the Be More Show for agents, where you'll find real talk, and ambition. We're here to build real businesses and be more than your average agent. We want to know what killers are actually doing within their businesses, the reality of it, all tactical, no fluff. So we're here to find out. Please share and enjoy.
Woo! Raul!
Oh, wow. What's
Welcome
going on?
to the freaking party, man.
Oh,
We're here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Watch
you
out
did not
now.
know what you signed up for. I'm so sorry.
No, I know you well enough. Ali, I see you on social media, so I kind of had an idea.
Yeah, I really know
Besties.
she's batshit.
We're besties.
Yeah. Dude, speaking of seeing people on social media from afar, so how I know Raul in the very beginning, once upon a time, this was years ago, there was someone who hit us up after seeing 5 Pillars consistently online, and I may be butchering this, but he's seeing us consistently online. Is this dude? He's across the country in Washington State, JBLM, about to get out of the military, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, whatever that is, that looks so cool. I want to be a part of it." And so he was our first intern doing the career skills program, who moved across the country to come and intern with 5 Pillars and set up his whole business in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And there was a lot of other reasons why he moved, but I like to forget those and just pretend like he was this crazy girlfriend moving across the country, sight unseen. But then when Raul came, it was really cool because we were looking for someone to take on like the listing specialist within our organization. And he had like the perfect storm of qualities and took that and ran with it, which Ali has some stats on that stuff.
Yeah. So these stats, you are in the Fayetteville area and the surrounding area. You focus on listings, but with an investment twist, which we will get into in this show. You've been an agent for a little over 2 years. You've done shy of like 9 million in volume, which is 45 transactions. Did I read that correctly? Dang.
Yeah.
Nice. And closings in the last year, you did almost 19 in the last year, over 4 million in volume. You are a solo agent with a premier team that includes the listing coordinator, photographer, transaction manager, light stager, dude, everything. So I'm excited to get into that, which I believe you mentioned before we started the show is your deep dive. So yeah. And you're obviously, as Shelby mentioned, a retired vet, and you provide creative solutions to helping your clients sell their home. So I love that. I'm excited. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But we're not
Yeah.
going to get straight into real estate. We're going to get straight into the show. So tell us
Yeah.
your show moment.
So it's actually literally 2 years ago from this Sunday right now, because it was Mother's Day weekend. 3 months into the business, jumped in face first, trying to figure things out and having a great team, but not using them. I'll be transparent. That is the whole point of the story, not using my team and asking questions. Got in there, buyer agent, went, and we got under contract. It was a bit rough. They were blowing smoke up my butt. Didn't realize it. But once we got under contract, it was like finally a Saturday night, and the seller did not want to share their information. Like, they wanted a wire transfer, but did not want any type of share their account information, their routing stuff or whatever. So we're going back and forth. Like, how do you want us to send? Well, Zelly this to us. And we're like, we can't Zelly you $10,000. By the time it gets to you, the transaction will be done. So It was very frustrating. So the agent, or maybe the seller, took the house, put the house back on the market. We already had an executed contract. And I'm like, this has already been, like you said, a crappy show. And I'm just like, what the heck? And I'm like, you know what? When it gets to the point that you're like stressed out, I should have reached out to my team from the beginning, and I finally did. And guess what? All the pillars, I'm the family guy chilling at home, figuring this out. All the pillars are out drinking, having a good old party and stuff. Luckily, they actually liked me because they picked up the phone because I was super stressed out. And yeah, so the person threw the house back on the market. My client calls me up and say, "Hey, I thought we were under contract. Why is my house on the market right now?" And I'm like, so Shelby, Yesenia, Mike G kind of just be like, "Hey, number one, guess what?" Especially Shelby, like, "It's gonna be okay. Bring it down a notch.
Everything's fine."
Yeah, exactly. Everything's gonna be okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but 3 months in, I'm like, what the heck? This is literally my third client. My second buyer, and I had no clue. And so now here we go. I'm trying to get her on the phone, pick up. I'm blowing her up. Because she doesn't answer all day Saturday. Now it's Mother's Day. She finally picks up. I'm assuming her parents said, like, they're real estate agents as well. Like, you can't just not take it off the MLS. I mean, put it back on the MLS without sending them the document saying, "Hey, where is my due diligence money? You have 24 to 48 hours." She did none of this stuff. No notification, no nothing. Like, "Hey, we're canceling this contract." So she puts it back. She puts it back under, takes it off the MLS, and we literally have like 24 hours to figure out how to get her this money. And Mike G's like, "Bro, you're good. Just go ahead and you'll be okay." Also, like, just get them on the phone and try to figure this out. USA will have them both talk, and they both can talk to a person in the middle, and it'll be okay. So, like I said, the whole team took care of me. I mean, like, and I'm not doing the story justice because there's way more. But the point is like, I was stressed out. Reach out to your team, and then the funny part is at the end is that my client told me after they did the wire transfer, she heard the person's information anyway because they were both on the phone with USA. So we spent the whole weekend stressing out for stupidness.
Dude.
Damn.
Oh
yeah.
my God. I do remember that so clearly, though. It's funny that you're telling this story because, like, we were all at, it was one of our contractors' houses, Gunner. We were at his house having literally a party, and then Raul was calling me, and I knew it was something like with contracts, and like Yesenia is like the contract queen. She knows all of the rules, and so she's like, drinks deep. I'm drinks deep. We have him on speaker, and it's like, no, just tell him this. No, pull it up and look for this line. Like, all of us hovered around. It was a show. It was very fun though. For us. Sorry, not for you.
It is now. It's a great story.
Yeah. One of the babies is like, baby. I say babies, you're like, 75 years old over there. How old are you?
I agree.
Raul?
I think I turned 41.
Yeah. Ancient. No,
maybe like that. Yeah.
Just
dang, I would not have known that. Wow. I thought you were like early 30s. Hell yeah. Damn.
Right? He looks amazing. Okay. So show, and I know a little bit about your real estate history. Give us a little bit leading up to real estate, and then trying to get towards where you are now.
All right. So leading up to real estate, did 20 years in the Army, Master Sergeant, Air Defense Artillery, and it was good. It wasn't bad, but a lot of sergeant majors said, "Hey, once you hit that 20 years, you're working for half the pay." So I had to figure something else out, and I wanted to retire for real. So bigger pockets. I'm out there searching. COVID was happening 2020. What the heck am I going to do? Government contractor, whatever. And found bigger pockets from Brandon Turner. And that's what got me on the real estate hype, the investor hype. And I spent the last year of the Army just studying real estate, reading books. It was just straight real estate investments. Is more investor heavy to become and retire for real. After doing 20 years in the Army, like, I'm good. I just want to be retired. And then
feel ya. 20 so many. I did 6 and I was like, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, it was long. Real talk. It definitely was long. And then towards the end, I had a transition, and I was trying to figure out where I was going. And the kids, my older kids, he's 18 years old now. He's going to college. And a 15-year-old wanted to move here to North Carolina to live with their mom. And we're trying to find a house. My real estate agent, I asked her, who do I need to talk to in town to link up with to really learn about real estate investments. And the 5 Pillars team just kept coming up. And that's what brought me to your guys' team is like, they're like, hey, if you want to learn about, if you want to learn about
She's
investments, if you want to learn about investments, these are the guys that are shaking it up here in town. And that was all I needed. And that's when I, like I said, randomly calling Shelby, like, hey, what do I need to do? How do I become an intern? All that kind of stuff or whatever. And like you said, all the way across the country.
All the way.
And got here and jumped on a team as an intern for like 1 month or 2. I was actually getting my license at the same time while I was still in Washington State. And once I got here, had finished up all the classes and I was just doing all the tests. And by December, I was pretty much it. January, I started running as an agent in the Fayetteville area.
Nice.
Oh,
So
yeah,
then
dude.
you mentioned in the beginning, like working with buyers, which is I think what typically a lot of agents do is they start working with buyers, but now you're a listing machine. So how did you go from buyers to listings and where you're at now?
Shelby trusted me. That's how. Real talk. I didn't realize that there wasn't a listing agent on the team when I had shown up. And Shelby just reached out and she said, hey, would this interest you? It kind of fits like what you're looking for in your future, what kind of hours you're working, because I'm very family oriented. Like I said, I've already done my 20 years. So I want to work hard, but I also want to make sure that my family is a priority and I can really cookie cutter my schedule to that. And Shelby trusted me to give me the opportunity to say, hey, these are the things you can do as a listing agent. And I jumped on board and she gave me a shot and I haven't turned back.
And it's kind of funny looking back now because like this is the old school team. This is like back when we had traditional, it's not the way it operates now where it's nationwide. And but in the old school team, even then, like anyone could work with buyers or sellers. Like it wasn't a restriction. It's just there were so many more buyers than there were listings. And I was primarily doing the majority of the listings. And, you know, when you think about listings are highly leveraged and that it is a hard conversations to come in and build that seller's trust immediately. It's a little different than with the buyers because on the buyer side, you're just like excited and let's go look at houses together. But in the seller side, it's like more of a mature role. And so when I was looking out at along with like what Raul's goals were, it did make a lot of sense for you to be like a specialist and be able to grab all those listings and run with it. Allie, do you have a question?
So you went into listings, you switch from buyers, you go into listings. How did you get started? Like, was there a checklist or a conversation, scripts? Like, take us back to the beginning of making that switch.
We love your DMs on Instagram, and as long as you don't sound like a bot or aren't sharing your overnight crypto success, hit us up on Instagram. Let's be friends. We're at The Shelby Show and at Allie the Agent.
All of the above. So Shelby was in the middle of transitioning to Charlotte. And so on the 5 Pillars team, there's a whole document, there's a whole online, like, hey, watch these videos showing you how to do it from start to finish. So that was the thing, like, hey, Shelby's like, hey, start here first. And then as you have questions, we'll go ahead and go through the process. So go through the checklist, go through everything. So all the systems with the 5 Pillars team is already built up and you just have to go through the process. And so we went through the whole checklist, we went through the whole process. And as I asked questions, I pretty much made appointments with Shelby and said, hey, what about this? What does this mean on the CMA? Or how do you fix the seller net sheet? And that was that. I don't think I'm trying to think if I shadow anybody at the beginning at a listed appointment or if it was just like go out there. I don't even think you
shadowed me. I don't even think you did.
No, you were gone.
Yeah, like, and so now even as you're saying that, I literally just went into our education library to like pull up to be like, oh yeah, what do we have in there? And it's true. It's like literally step 1, like listing appointment preparation. Step 2, listing appointment. Step 3, listing appointment follow up. So it is, and each one of those has a video corresponding and checklist. So but I guess that's
it's
the
nothing
difference
like being out there.
Dude, there's so many people though who like, there are a lot of checklists that exist in the world and there's a lot of videos that people could watch. It's just like actually doing it and like absorbing the information, thinking about it, and then going out and living it. So kudos to you because a lot of people, even given the right steps, don't take them. So
many people, majority of the people don't take them. They literally have everything there. And
Right.
or they'll feel like they need to shadow a couple of times, you know, and sometimes it's a lot, like 5, 8 times before they feel comfortable with their own listing. What? Like, and here
Yeah.
you are, you have everything available to you and you go on your own the first time. And I love it. You know, like that's the action that we're about.
Yeah.
So,
You just got to
oh,
be
yeah.
hungry. I think that's what it is. You got to be, for me, it was okay to fail. I don't know if that sounds right or if that makes sense, but
Yeah.
I had to keep on getting out there and doing it until I really figured it out, and just doing it. And like I said, Shelby was like, I'd be like afterwards, I'd be like, well, what about this and what about this? And she's like, okay, try this, try this, try this, and that was it. You just keep on and keep on, keep on, and everybody's not gonna be, or you're not gonna be everybody's cup of tea. That's just transparency, real talk. The better, especially at the beginning, I was not everybody's cup of tea because I was really still figuring it out. But as I did it more, I realized that, and this is a Ruben tip, is that when I'm going to at the listing appointment, just ask 3 questions deep so you really know what they're looking for, what the situation is. That once I started doing that a lot more often and keeping that in the back of my head, it's just that old military trick as well. It's just really get to know the person. It got a lot easier.
I love that because what do they say? It's like the person who asks questions is in control of the scenario. And that's something too that
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people get back, maybe on the listing side in particular, is you go in and if the seller is asking you questions the entire time, you know you f***ed up.
Yeah.
Because you should be going in there, you know, what are your goals? What are your timelines? What are
Yep.
your expectations? And then,
Yep.
you know, allow them to talk for the majority of the time, collect that data. And once you have it, it's like, okay, based on everything that you told me that you're looking for, here are a couple of recommendations and courses of action that we could proceed with. So,
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure you have a video on that.
oh my God, shut up. Oh,
This is the
okay.
things I watched. So
Dude, for sure. Okay, so now listing, it is your specialist and you've gone out there, you've gotten a bunch of reps, and you mentioned before we got on here that you have like a full listing team. So what does that look like?
yeah. So 5 Pillars team, when I jumped on becoming the listing coordinator, they gave me these people that can help make the listing process easier. And I didn't realize how great it was until I've done 3 or 4 listings. So Stephanie, the listing coordinator, I mean, like she's worth her pay in gold. I mean, like I don't even know how to explain it, but
It's phenomenal.
yes, she allows you to not have to focus. You can focus on multiple customers at a time, multiple people at a time, and she's worth her pay every single time because I meet them, and I do the listing appointment. I build great rapport, and then I build Stephanie up to say, hey, this is your person. She's gonna go ahead and make sure everything. I am your talker, your speaker. She's got those eyes to see, hey, if I missed anything like that. And I mean, like she takes it from after that listing appointment up into putting it on the market and keeps me informed, and it frees me up as an agent to provide my services and to help out more people.
So how does the listing coordinator role that she does, how does that differ from a regular TC?
So I have a TC as well. So that's another role as well. So you can have her, she goes out, she meets the clients, she sets up, she provides estimates, and she does a really good job of making sure that she gets multiple estimates. So then that way the client is getting the best offer for all the repairs in the house. And we all know the better looking the house is, the faster it moves off the market, all those things. It just moves faster, the better condition it's in. And she makes sure the landscaping quotes. I mean, like she's worth it in gold.
And to kind of help explain the difference, because this is back when we had like the listing coordinator on staff, like the transaction coordinator on staff. These people were all in-house. So like, for clarity purposes, the listing coordinator takes it from after Raul has done the listing appointment all the way until it's under contract is really what it is. And so when you think about when you go to an appointment and you are looking at the house and you're thinking through repairs that might not need to be done, you're thinking through light staging that you might want, or landscaping and the house to be measured and all of these different things. Stephanie's part is to, after Raul goes to, the listing coordinator role is after the agent goes to the appointment, taking care of all of those little pieces that have to happen all the way up until it goes under contract. And the reason why I say under contract is because it also includes the MLS, the data input, the all of the listing paperwork, all of the disclosures, communication with the seller as to timeline updates throughout the entire process. So it's this huge piece of leverage that usually is incredibly time consuming for the agent that is off his shoulders. Does that make sense?
Yep. 100%.
It makes sense to me. I know it, but I think that made it like a lot more clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So then at what point
makes sense too?
To the audience.
It's clear. Yeah. But we are all agents, so yeah, never know.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure that at some point you've had some conversations with some sellers that, they like you as a person. That's why they sign on with you. How does that conversation go when you are telling them that your whole team is just as good as you?
Real talk, I haven't had that too often because during the listing appointment, I say we, but it's really I during that appointment. We're the same. We're a team. I sell the team. I don't sell me the whole time. That's what it is. I sell the team. I sell the listing coordinator. I sell the transaction manager. I say you're not only getting me. 5 Pillars has taught me you're getting a team. If I don't know the answer, I even have other agents to lean upon. It's never just about me, and that's what it is. If they do reach out between the listing appointment and going on the market and going under contract, what I'll do is I'll reach out to Stephanie, number one, so there's no miscommunication. So for example, we had somebody say, hey, houses are selling much more. It's been like 3 months and that kind of stuff. But they asked Stephanie and they asked me, and I'm like, that's my job as an agent, obviously. But I also want to clarify to see what my listing coordinator had spoken to them about. And then I just redirect them right back to the listing coordinator. I'll answer the questions and I'll redirect them back to the listing coordinator. But yeah, I haven't had it. Yeah, I really haven't had it too often.
That's great. One of the things that you do really well is when calm communication and then also managing expectations. I've seen that a lot in you. And I do think that if you are calm and confident in the way that you're presenting things and managing the expectations up front, then people just accept. Especially since like most sellers, they're not flippers. There's just like maybe the first time they sold the house, or maybe the last time they sold their house was their primary residence from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. And so they're relearning each time. And if like with Raul, when he comes in with that, they're like, okay, he knows what he's talking about. I'm gonna listen.
Yeah. You made me realize also, Shelby, there's the other thing is you have that face-to-face, but we also do email traffic. So you have an intro to Raul, you have an intro to the listing coordinator, Stephanie. So you get the whole like, hey, it's not just me. You get the team and their little bio as well. You get all these documents. So yeah, the trust and in my opinion and what I think is already built even before the listing appointment. If I'm recommending somebody, yeah, they're like, hey, you're good to go.
Nice.
So what people may be thinking is like, ooh, like listing coordinator and transaction coordinator. I'm seeing dollar signs, right? What does that, when does that pay look like for listing coordinator? When and how much? What does that look like?
Yeah. So I also, when I bring up all these people, the listing coordinator, the transaction coordinator, they can hear dollar bills, but it doesn't come out of their pocket. It comes out of mine. So they have no worries at all from the beginning that there's no extra charge or fee for them. That's something that I pay up front. So they don't have to worry about that. So when it comes to listing coordinator, it's $450 a transaction, unless it's multiple. So she'll give me like a discount or something if I have like one person, a flipper, doing like 3 transactions or something at the same time, or 2 transactions at the same time. And then transaction manager, that would be $400 per transaction.
And that's the contract to close.
Yep, correct. So transaction manager is once we go under contract up until close, they manage all documents. Mine does a really good job of managing expectations of the clients as well. And I'll be transparent. So many things going on. They keep me on track. Like if I'm forgetting something, if there's no repair request hasn't been turned in on time, or the other person's owing us something, they even send me reminders checking in to make sure the transaction runs smoothly from contract to close. That's exactly what I'm paying them for, is to manage it from contract to close and run smoothly.
And they only get paid at the end, like if the transaction closes.
Once we
That's
close.
contract. Yeah. What about the
Yep,
listing
once we-
coordinator? When do you pay that? That one is
So
not
listing
that closes it?
coordinator, I
Yeah.
pay upfront once we have a signed contract. Once that seller gets all the documents and signs all the documents, I pay her, because at the end of the day, we already know we're moving forward.
What
Okay,
happens if
gotcha.
you
So
don't?
it's
What happens if, have you ever had a seller that didn't want to sell anymore after you paid the listing coordinator?
maybe one, and I ate it because it was a lesson learned.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
What would
I'm
you
trying to remember
say?
what the whole story was though, but I ate it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so I bet, our audience is agents, right? So people listening to this are agents. So what would you say? There's probably people out there who are like, dude, I don't want to hire these, people who are afraid of either paying for leverage or trusting someone else. Like, what would you say to those people having the experiences that you have?
So it's hard to boast. So I'm going to try. So just with the numbers that Allie gave you at the beginning, I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. When it came to being 2 years in and selling 45 houses, without a listing coordinator, without a transaction manager, I realized very early that I can manage actively 3 clients. That's it. With my life and being able to be retired and also enjoy my family, I only can do 3. But when I have a listing coordinator, when I have a transaction manager, currently right now, I'm probably managing anywhere from 6 to 8 at a time, because it's PCS season here. But it's not it's it's the team. So my income pretty much doubles, or it can even quadruple, based off those transaction managers, the listing coordinator. Some people can manage 4 to 5 at a time themselves, but then they have no time.
Yep.
I like my time.
Yep. And I mean, you gain so many hours back by being able to leverage that off to then help more clients. So yeah.
Mhm.
What other tools and systems do you use?
Yeah. So tools and systems right now. Let's see. I'm gonna look at my notes because I can't remember everything. That's really what it is. It's the biggest thing I would say is my calendar. And Shelby will probably love this. I probably said her name way too many times in this, and she's kind of like, yeah. But if it wasn't for her and her
Dude, I
systems
love it.
and
I fucking
calendar,
love it.
that's what it is. It's my calendar, and I wrote when I first saw it said, hey, give us tips or give us something, a nugget at the end, and I'm here writing down tips. And one of the things that I got was my calendar. Live and die by your calendar. I'm still figuring it out. It's not perfect, but I am able to enjoy my family and still enjoy being an agent. Some people get burnt out. They say 90% or 80% of agents will be turning around by this time, especially doing this many transactions. But because of the team, that's what it is. Leverage.
87% of agents quit by year 2. So,
yeah.
And then it continues.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. And then out of those, 87% quit another year 2. That's crazy. Yeah. So then,
because it's hard.
So the tools and systems that you use are free. It's, Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar, whichever one you don't pay for.
Yep.
The only thing you are paying for is leverage from the people that are helping you then earn more. Is there anything else that you use that you do end up paying for that we haven't covered?
Regular agent fees. I do, and I've started it. I haven't got any funds from it yet, but I have started doing postcards, but they say you have to do it anywhere from 3 to 6 months to get a return on it. But realistically, it's like $250 a month to send out like 500 postcards. So something like that or whatever. So I take it as, hey, people at least get to know my name and being a listing agent. So that's the only thing I really pay out of pocket extra right now at this time.
Yeah.
So
I want to talk about the postcards, but before I want to talk about how did you get the clients before the postcards?
Yeah. So year 1, join a great team that shares their leads with you. So I'd say that was probably 50 to 75% of it. And then the other part was social media, just not even letting people know that I'm in real estate per se, but more of intentionally going through your phone and just reaching out to people and just connecting again and connecting again. And then sooner or later, they'll ask you like, hey, what are you up to? It's been forever. And then that's your opportunity to let them know. And some of them will reach back out and let you know that, hey, I've got X is trying to sell or move, and you want to be just that top of mind. But 50 to 75% that first year was buyer clients from the team. The team was also very investor heavy. So I have an investor client from the first year that does now 2 to 3 flips a year, which is awesome, which actually belonged to somebody else. And they left it. They went to go pursue their other career. And this person, as soon as they left, I mean, like, man, my man, Adam, shout out to him, man. He's a partner, man. Like, he's awesome. Like, I love working with him. He trusts us as a team. He uses the listing coordinators. He uses our contractors, and he makes money. I make money, and we just grow off of each other.
Yeah, there's nothing better than like a really good investor client, because we all know working with investors most of the time blows because they're all talk and they're no walk. But once you find the gem, like I had a dude who did so many burrs that I would just help him buy over and over and over again, like at least, over 10 in a year. And then same with flips, that's even better because there's way more commission if you have the flipper, dude. So yeah, Adam, I'm with you, man.
Yep. I'd say we've done like 6 deals out of that 45 with Adam in the past 2 years. And he's not slowing down. I linked him up with a hard money lender. Once he got that, he was like, oh, okay, let's go. I was like, all right. So we can do now. He's at the point now he can do 2 to 3 deals at a time. So it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
And he's in California. He's not even here.
My burr dude was also in California. It was amazing. Love the Californians playing in North Carolina because they're like, this is pennies.
Yep.
Okay, dude, back to the postcards though. So how are you?
Oh, yeah.
What are you like what postcard are you doing these, like you're handwriting your own postcards? Did you like partner with a company to send them out at and also who? Like what are a specific neighborhood or what are you doing? Tell us.
Yeah, so at the beginning it was I intentionally want to hit up my neighborhood so people get to know me, who I am, and then also my neighborhood's Jack Britt School District. The houses sell really high. I know this area. So I just started shooting them out there and postcards, just straight up postcards. Bob Sleeves, he's a wholesaler, and he said, hey, postcards work, but you need to do it 3 to 6 months before you see any return on it. And that's what I just kept hearing. So my goal is to be a listing agent. So I need to continuously get listings to come in. And I appreciate the team, but I know reality is that the team can't feed me all the leads in the world, and I need to figure out certain things for myself. So that's what I'm doing,
dude. Oh, I love that. When people come join, teams or communities or whatever, and are like, do you send out leads? It's like, let's teach you how to build your own business base so you can generate your own mass amount of it, and you're not literally relying on someone else to feed you.
Feed me.
Because once you do rely on someone else, that's when it's so twisted, because even though you know the business at that point and you've become so accustomed to getting leads to where it's almost like, what's that, like there's a psychological term for it, I forget, but essentially you think that you can no longer find your own leads. You just become dependent on them, like, oh man. So from the start, I say like
in real life,
total dependence. Like from the start, just learn how to find your own leads. Why would you want to depend on anybody else? Then.
Yep. So that's what it became. So start sending out.
Are you sending these postcards once a month for 3 to 6 months? Okay, once a month.
Once a month. I'm only on like month 3. So the first one was just an intro to who I am, and then you had on there, hey, I'm a veteran, I'm honest, and I'm gonna be transparent with you. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like no bull, no smoke. That's what it is. It's either this is who I am, and somebody told me that you want to look for clients that you want to work with. So I'm just being transparent. Like, I'm not gonna tell you to lie. I'm not gonna tell you your house is worth $10 million when it's only worth $1 million. And that's kind of like in the postcard. You get like 3 bullet points of who I am. And that was the first month. And then I sent the Happy New Year's one, I think, back in the day. And then Happy Easter. And then I think next month I have it on my calendar to start writing handwritten out letters. So right now I'm only around like 250, but I'm also cleaning up my list now. I went to a conference not too long ago, and I need to tighten it up to get a better return on my money. So look for orphan children, the guy told me. So intentionally looking for houses that the agent is no longer involved with. The ones that have agents that are still involved with, you might just be wasting your money. So starting to figure those out, and also focusing on VA, because I'm a veteran. Who else is those are the people that's going to want to work with me easier. Rapport's already built. So those are the kind of things to kind of tighten up that shot group when it comes to Postcard. So I'm adjusting my list to those now. And I only want probably around 250 to 500. Anything more than that, I don't know if I'll be able to manage, because you have to go through the list and make sure it's not just return to sender or all that stuff. So once a month, even, I'll go through and make sure that, hey, it's actually going to the person. That's where I'm rambling now.
No,
So
dude, you're fine.
you
Go
introduce
on.
yourself, letter 1. What's letter like
Yep.
2 through 6?
Yo, real quick, this podcast is not free. Cost of admission is sharing with a buddy who'd benefit or throwing it on your Instagram story. Tag us. We'll reshare that.
So introducing myself, letter 1, and then 2 through 6 can just be like a holiday, or it can be like what's going on in the market or what's going on in your neighborhood. I intentionally go for jackpot houses, anywhere from 4 bedrooms or more as well. So it's just very market focused for those 2 to 5 months, and then month 6, it's a handwritten letter, just like, hey, what's going on? Kind of another like warm and fuzzy, so they see my handwriting, and just restart the process all over again.
Nice. Do you ever use QR codes?
I don't, but I probably should, because they said you should put a video on there that
Yeah.
makes it 10 times better.
Oh,
Yeah,
You're smiling pretty hard.
They
I
all
have to
want
see
to
it.
see. They want to see how good your skincare routine is. They want to see your face.
There is no skincare routine, just so you know, Shelby.
Dude, in my head,
Really?
it's like
You'd
you've got
lie.
all
There's a
the
washcloth
Chemex. It's so good.
Exfoliating with nothing on it every day. That's it. Just straight
Oh.
water and a washcloth.
Oh my god, I
Nah.
actually hate you now, but that's fine. Yeah, Allie's like all about the video, because she's a video crazy person, so she's all about that. Something else that I really liked that you said is that you were like, I put it on my calendar when you were going to send out the next batch of cards. And that's something that I think a lot of people just use their calendar as a place for appointments. They literally only put on there like when it's like an appointment. And if you use your calendar as like a planning space and for reoccurring events in your life, it's like that's the calendar is like magic. And so I was just random side note.
No.
I thought that was cool.
No, go for it. The
Yeah.
calendar is what got me this far. Is it keeps me on track. Real talk. Like, even if I don't like to, but if I have to shuffle stuff around a little bit, but I still know what's important to be done that day, that week, that month. I even know that my kid has an event coming up, so I can't do it that day. So the calendar it makes you the best you if you can really keep growing with it.
Totally agreed.
When someone calls you from a postcard, what does that initial conversation look like? What's the objective of that initial conversation? And how do you get them as a client?
So honestly, I'm just trying to build rapport. I'm not even trying to focus on locking anything in or anything like that. I'm just trying to be friendly, and I'm just trying to build a connection. So it's just like, hey, what's going on? And I'll ask them like, hey, so how'd you get my information? And okay, great. So what's going on? And they'll tell me. And depending on where it goes from there, I'll say, okay, if they're looking to sell in the next 2 to 3 months, then we have a deeper conversation. If not, then it's just follow. It's like at the end of the conversation, like, hey, can I check back in with you to give you what's going on in the market? Some type of providing value and connection during that conversation. It doesn't have to be locked in, listen appointment right now. It has to be more of for me, a connection, so they can remember him, and I can have the permission to reach back out to them again.
I have a question. This is like a way back to the beginning, but I was just thinking about, as you were talking about what your conversation looks like. with, when you're on the phone. Could you take us through what a listing appointment looks like? Like from when you park your car and go up to the door, like what happens?
Oh, okay. That's good.
And what do you bring?
Yeah. Walk us through it.
Yeah. So listing appointment, first thing I pull up, and it might be weird or crazy, but I take a picture of the house. What's the current condition of it? So I have that for me. And I normally come in with a folder, and it has the CMA, it has the seller net sheet, it has a printout potentially of myself and Stephanie in our bios. And that's really what I bring. Everything else that I send them that in via an email after the end of the appointment as well. But I at least want to give them just enough to be like, okay, and maybe they want some more. So I go ahead, I ring the doorbell, and I say, hey, big old smile, what's going on? Hey, buddy, what's going on? And I say, would you like to show me your beautiful home? And that's it. That's all. It's all positive. And we just start walking around the house. And as we're walking around the house, it's like, hey, are you okay with me turning on the lights? And it's just a very casual conversation of, here are some things that I can think about to make potentially sell your house for a higher price or make it more aesthetically pleasing to your potential buyer. And I'm just giving little comments, and I'm keeping it in the back of my head for them as well. So when we sit down at the end, and my goal during that is point out anything, everything to minimalist, minimum. And if you think you're a minimalist, times it by 2. But doing it as nice as possible, smiling, because some people, you just never know how they feel about that. But their goal is to sell their home. And then as I see little things of, it's just, well, what about this? It's not saying, hey, fix this. It's, what are you going to do with this? Or do you have any plans for this? And what I'm pointing out is potential paint jobs, or if a dog chewed up carpet. So those little things to get the house in the best condition, and having them take responsibility for some of those things, because we're gonna go back at that when we sit down after we walk through the whole house and around the outside of the house, because I want to see everything so I can give them the best analysis, the best price, projected price for their home. So once we've done walking through the whole house, I'll say, hey, can we sit down and we can kind of go through some of these documents here. I just want to kind of tell you what I see, and it's not usually that formal. It's more like casual. I just made that up right now. So we'll have a seat, and it's usually at the kitchen table or something like that. And first thing I'll pull out is usually just one more time, just asking some more questions about their why, what's important to them. Do I really want to figure out what's the most important to them, whether it's timeline, whether it's most money in pocket, do they have any funds to actually do any repairs? So when I present my solution at the end, I already kind of have all that information. And then all those things, I ask deeper questions well, I don't have any funds to potentially do any repairs. Okay, well, will you be willing to do like some creative things if you don't have any funds? Whether it's, do you have a whole bunch of equity in your home? You get some equity out. So that's the creative solutions, because the better the home, the better the problem, the better you can sell the home for.
Okay. No, that totally makes sense. So you get there, you ask for a tour, you use the tour as an opportunity to ask more questions about, instead of pointing out this is wrong, say, oh, what's your plan for it? So asking questions and taking notes on anything that you might recommend as a touch up. And then by the time you sit down, you're still asking more questions. Why are you selling? What's the timeline? How much are you looking to profit? Those type of questions. And then within each one of those, you're saying you go 3 deep, right? Okay, so collecting all of the information possible, and then what?
Then we'll go into the actual listing presentation. So that's when for me, I'll pull out my laptop, and they'll have a copy in front of them, and I'll have everything on my laptop, and we'll go through the CMA, because by then my presentation, real talk, is probably like 5-10 minutes. Because we've already built up so much rapport walking through the house. We build up so much rapport, me asking like, what's important to you? I'm going through the CMA, hitting the highlights of, hey, these are the houses that are in your area. Us as an agent, we always want to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples. What's similar to your home? What's similar square footage? When it was built and condition. And that's how we can really give you a potential projection price of your home. And as I'm going through the CMA, I'll point out those homes and how it's similar. And one big thing I like to point out, especially with this changing market, is days on market. So depending on whether you do want to put some funds in or you don't want to put some funds in, it can kind of give us an idea of how long the house is going to stay in the market. And if timeline is important to you, we really have to strategize what we're going to do when we put on the market. And then we'll come down.
I love that. Real quick, how you tied it back to, so that's what you ask all those questions because then you really understand their motivation. And then when you're doing the listing presentation, you use that as leverage to get them to do the things that you know they should do to have the best listing, but also to hit their goals. That's good. Sorry, go on. Edge of my seat here.
No, it's good. So that's what we do. We go through and we're just pointing those things out. And then at the end of the CMA, it gives them a guesstimation, potentially what their house is worth, whether it's okay condition, great condition, great condition. And then I ask them, like, what condition do you expect your house to be in? And then what do you think it's kind of like that. And so I say, after walking to your house, I think and we do all these repairs that we potentially talk about. This is what I think you can sell your house for. And so now they say, hey, I can sell my house great for $250,000 if I do X, Y, and Z. Okay, so guess what? Would you like to see what your profit margin would look like? So then that's when I pull out the seller net sheet. I do that last very intentionally because once you give people numbers, they check out.
Yeah.
So that's the last thing I give them is the numbers. And on my seller net sheet is you have 3 to 4 columns and you'll have no repairs, pretty much no cost out of pocket. And some of the things that we highly recommend, if you can't do anything to the house, I would say landscaping, curb appeal, and paint at a minimum. Those are like the minimum things. And that's all on the seller net sheet. It's also asking them, hey, what's the balance of your home? And it just gives them a breakdown of what their potential profit margin is. And that's all in there. So the first column, there's no extra cost coming out of pocket. You're just going to throw it out there and we're going to put it out there. And the expectation is if we do nothing about it, remember that days on market, if it's 20, 40 days, this is what we're expecting. So if your timeline is important to you, we really need to be creative. So whether that's some kind of loan or I have the option of I can cover those costs and I increase the percentage. So, but that's what the 3 columns are is no repairs. Then you have, hey, the seller does some repairs. And then the last column potentially has is that I absorb all the costs and I do the repair. So there's no repair cost in there again. And then at the bottom, my commission increases because I've absorbed $20,000, $30,000 worth of repairs. And I don't get paid until after we actually sell your home. So I'm motivated to do the best I can to give you the best price for your home in any of those situations.
This is great. I'm looking at it now and it has enough information, but also it's still clean enough for a typical seller that doesn't know, that might not use a calculator to be able to get a good grasp on this. Can you help tie this back to the listing coordinator, right? So you mentioned in the beginning, she gets the bids, but you're here without the listing coordinator. So how does that work as far as once you you take photos within the room? How do you tie her back in?
Yeah. So while I take photos of those things that I think probably should really be repaired, or if it's paint, I'm not taking a picture of every single room. I know the whole house needs paint. That's just a no. But if I see that there's like broken, the carpet's pulled up, I see like dogs. That's one of the things. The dogs or animals, like carpet's chewed up or something like that. It's like the buyer's going to see that. So those are the notes and those are things I take pictures of. I see the landscaping in the front, like that first picture, the curb appeal is crap. Like that's one of those things. So anything that's like really stand out. And then on the seller net sheet, I'll do a guesstimation. You probably will see some numbers in there, like it's either paint or repairs. I'll give them all the costs. So you have what their mortgage is left. Then you'll have like paint. Then you have repairs. Then you'll have staging. Staging is huge. I mean, like I didn't realize how seriously it was with staging until I looked at other people's listings. I hate to say it like that, but my listings have no issues selling 99.9% of the time if I price it right and I stage it. But people that stage them right, that don't stage them, and even if it's priced right, they'll still sit. But that's a tangent. But yeah, on the list, you have all those things in yellow. Stephanie coordinates. She coordinates the contractors to come in with the seller, saying, hey, we'll have somebody come in and we'll figure out the numbers, what it costs to repair this. So you can see, and 99.9% of the time, I'll throw a number in there for my guesstimations because I'm an investor. So I can be plus, and I'll tell them, I'm going to put in what it costs to repair this whole house if we did everything. Let's just say 10, 15, 20. It just depends on the house. And I'll throw that number in there. But Stephanie's going to come in there as a listing coordinator. She's going to get the contractors to come in. She's going to get a landscaper to come in. She's going to do everything on here to give you the exact numbers. And then we're going to have another conversation of is obviously, again, where's these funds coming from? Are you good with paying these funds? And if not, we provide more options. Because at the end of the day, the better your house looks, the better chance we have selling your house in a timely manner.
And for people, if you're listening and you're like, gosh, I want to see what they're talking about, this is Raul's Nugget that he is submitting to theagentgoldmine.com. So you can go there and see his seller net sheet exactly as he does it.
Okay. And he stole it from the 5 Pillars team and he just added to real talk.
And I love how in literally, like, as you said, in yellow are all the boxes in which you could leverage off. So if you also want to start implementing a listing coordinator in your business, you can have the listing coordinator actually schedule out everything highlighted in yellow. So that's great. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, how do you feel about AI staging? I want to know your thoughts.
Real quick, if you're listening to this on Apple does not make it easy to leave us a rating. So I'm going to break this down for you. In the search tab, type in the Be More Show for Agents. Click on the thumbnail. Then click that middle tab that says Reviews and click Write a Review. Tap on those 5 stars, of course. Let us know how awesome this show is and how it's helped you. And if that's too much for you, I understand and just switch to Spotify already. Thank you so much, and back to the show.
Like virtual staging.
I don't like it. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't like it, and the why is here when people are PCSing and they see it online, it gets them to the house, but then it's still gonna sell, transparency. But some people feel some type of way. I've gotten feedback when I've done it before, like they can't see the difference between AI staging that they saw online. So now they're actually in the house and be like, this looks different.
Dude, I agree with you. And granted, I'm sure it depends on the market. It depends on a bunch of different factors, but like having walked into enough houses with buyers on the buyer agent side, you would not believe the psychological effect that a damn wreath and a welcome mat and the cute little fake plants by the toilet have on the buyer. They're like, oh my God, this house is so cute. And in my head, I'm like, we just saw one before this that was actually better, but it didn't have the little hanging around. And now you think that this is that. But I'm like, you know what? It is adorable. You're right. It's crazy. Have y'all seen that? Have you seen that too, Allie?
Absolutely. No? And smells, especially with smells.
Oh my God,
like even a house could be so open and like you just have to get rid of the smell and it's not even that bad of a smell. Or a house that's like cramped, smaller, not exactly what the buyer was wanting, but it smells like baked cookies. Amazing. You know, like and that just makes the shift. It's so crazy.
I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
So how did
Light
you find
staging?
How did you find your stager?
My listing coordinator.
Hell yeah. I love it. So leveraging the leverage.
Yep. So at first it was my listing coordinator. She has like 3 or 4 people, but now at this point we did Airbnbs for a while, and my wife, she's really good at it, but she needed her confidence to know and to see that she can really do it. So now I just pay my wife. My wife's my listing coordinator. And we do business together. Like that's the real retirement life for me. We drive around, look at listings, and we put furniture in the house.
Cute.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, that sounds fun.
Do we finish the listing appointment? So you did the seller's net sheet, and then what? Can you take us to the end of the appointment?
Yeah. So at the end of the listing, so when I first started doing it, I would just be like, I didn't know what to say. But now I show them the numbers, and then it's like, all right, so I don't even give them the opportunity to say yes or no or something like that. I'm like, all right, so the next step is me coordinating Stephanie with you. And when would you like me to connect you? Because I can connect you guys via email. And that's it. It's just a continuous flow. If they have a question, they stop and that kind of stuff. That's fine. That's cool. But 99.9% of the time, once they see their profit margin of 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, whatever it is, they're like, oh, dang, you give us from start to finish all these things. This sounds great. And I just move them on along. And it's like, all right, have a great day. Stephanie, my listings coordinator, is going to reach out to you within 24 to 48 hours. Once I get home tonight, unless it's super late, I will send you another intro email to Stephanie. And if you have any questions, please, please, please reach out. And that's it. The confidence just keeps it rolling.
That's
but I had to figure out what I was doing to be confident.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to do it too. You know, like no matter how many times you shadow, you're not going to be as confident. So I want to make sure that we covered every portion that you leverage off to, like, as you as a solo agent with a team. Did we cover every aspect of the team?
So let's see. We have listing coordinator, we have transaction manager, we have a stager, we have a photographer, we have contractors on standby, we have landscapers on standby. We even have inspection person that we use all the time. I mean, like, anything to do with a house and selling a house, we have. I don't do everything. That's not my expertise.
Yeah. Do you get inspections done before listing?
No.
Okay.
No. Nah, I don't mess with that one.
Okay.
Real talk, it's a buyer beware state.
Yeah.
And anything I find out is a material fact. And yeah, I don't want to put anything out there that potentially is not an issue. Because the inspectors are just going to come out there and say, hey, this might be an issue.
Yeah.
And it might be an
disclose.
issue. And now I have to tell everybody. It's like, no.
Dude, I do love, like, you just listed all of the pieces of your team, and that's really cool to think about. It's like, everyone says that listings are leverage, but they're not always if you don't have all of the pieces of the puzzle. And so for you, it's like you have, a lead comes in whichever manner that you've lead generated for yourself. You have the initial phone call or correspondence. You go to the appointment, and then after the appointment, it is literally leveraged all the way up until, I assume, when you get offers. So that way you negotiate at that point. And then literally after it's agreed upon, from contract to close is even leveraged. So all in all, total time spent is probably a couple hours.
Yep.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's how you're able to do 20 transactions a year. So
with like, amazing. As like a part, like as a very, like, still not, I'm not part-time, but like I know that you're a big family person. Like, I know this because, like, sometimes I'm like, Raul, come do this. And you're like, nope, family, which I
it's hard.
Respect.
But it's hard because I like to say yes and I like to do things, but it's like, no, I've been gone 10 years. I need to be here. So yeah. But I try to start working, real talk, probably between 10 and 11. So I can spend the time with the family or go to the gym. And then after that is when it's really time blocked in between, as a listing agent, I can pretty much time block everything between 11 up until 5, unless I can't see their house at a listing appointment. That's the only time I have to go really outside of those hours. If somebody sends me a lead in, obviously I'll call them. It's like 5-10 minutes outside of that time, but I really try to stick really hard. Ruben Garcia, he said, put on your calendar. It's red and it's a castle and it's a moat and it's red from 6:30 p.m. all the way up until I think like 9 in the morning or something like that. And then even at 9, I still don't start working probably till, like I said, 10 or 11, depending what the calendar has. Cause I've leveraged and I want to enjoy my team, but I ain't gonna lie. Year 1 and year 2 was definitely not like that. It was fire hydrant.
Yeah.
It was fire hydrant trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing.
Yeah. So what does the end state look like for you? Or like, what do you imagine next year, the next 12 months look like? And then further on, what's your goal?
Yeah. So outside of just doing those 45 transactions, we were also acquiring our own property. So we acquired 5 properties during this whole time as well. And
congrats.
Thank you. We really want to retire for real. So the initial goal was to accumulate 10, 20 properties, but we realized that I've learned how to flip because we did Airbnbs. Is we're actually just gonna go ahead and flip houses because we have all the systems in place. Being a listing agent, we have all the contractors. So we're gonna start flipping houses for ourselves. So it even feeds our listing business as well. So every piece of it, that's our thing, is to do 4 to 5 flips a year to pay down those 5 properties. And once those 5 properties are paid down, it's like really, really free.
Dude, I love that because I'm totally with you. In the beginning, I was like, I want 100, 1,000, doors and all of these things. And now, like, over time and experience, it's like less is more. You can do a lot more if you just, pay off or whatever. And it all depends on your goals in the scenario. But like, bro, I'm with you.
Before we move on to our like final questions, is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to share with everyone?
I did write some things down. What would you start? What did you say the last part was, the final nugget or questions?
We just have some wrap up questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did have a tip, since this is really for agents in general, is like, anyone can succeed in this business if you work hard enough and if you don't have a plan B. No plan B.
Yes. Back against the wall. Yes.
This has been such a recurring theme, and it's so true. Like it is so true. Oh,
no, that's what it was. I had no plan B, and I was getting out of the military. Retirement check doesn't cover everything. Disability check was maybe coming in. So it was like, you got to figure this out. You got kids. So no plan B, figured it out. And what I would add to that is, and I wrote this down kind of figuring out, was become a subject matter expert in one thing. Learn so much that it becomes second nature. Your confidence will skyrocket and your income will magically increase. Not really. You've done the hard work. That's it. Hard work. And become a subject matter expert in one thing.
Love it.
Yes. Love it.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, perfect. Allie, ready? Are we going to wrap? Oh, did you have another one?
No.
I have 4, but we don't have time forever. So
that's totally.
You have more?
Oh, keep going.
Please.
Yeah, keep going.
Dude.
Okay. This one we kind of talked about already, was understanding people's problems and situations. Ask 3 questions deep to really understand the people, help them understand themselves, the situation, and to help them find solutions. That was 1. Live and die by your calendar. Live and die by your calendar. Family and health are important. So that's the first thing I add, and build everything around it. Surround yourself with subject matter experts in different areas. You don't know everything. There's always more to learn. It's wise to ask for help. Like my story earlier, ask for help.
Yeah.
Oh, this was big for me as a listing agent. Mindset going into a listing or an appointment. In the back of my head, all I'm saying, not even where I'm on my confidence level, if I know the answers, all I'm saying in the back of my head is, how can I help you? How can I help you? That's all I'm focusing on. I've learned that when that's my focus, I have more success at securing the listing or helping a buyer's client. Is how can I help them? I get paid based on solutions.
So good. Yeah.
That's it. That's the clip.
Yes. Yeah. All the clips.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Sweet. So what is your favorite app or tool that you use either in business or for your personal life?
App or tool? I'm sorry. But
we mentioned the calendar already.
Calendar?
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's really my calendar. My calendar tells, I don't have to think where I need to be, what I need to do to make sure my business is thriving, make sure I'm being an available husband. Like, I know this afternoon, like, this is the only thing I really have on, and this afternoon is date night. It's on there. And it's on there from 2:30 to like 7 o'clock at night.
That's awesome.
My calendar is my app. That's the thing that keeps me being the best that I can be, the best agent I can be. It's my calendar. Yeah. That's what it is.
Nice.
Perfect. Okay. What events are you going to this year, if any?
I'm not real talk. I'm going to Australia this summer. My amazing wife, decided to move from Australia and live with me, and she's been here, has her family of 5 years. So I'm going this summer for like 6 weeks, and I'm gonna learn how to run my business from Australia.
Oh
Yeah.
That is so awesome. Dude, there's
So-
nothing like something like that to force you to take the next step in your business. So, dude,
Yes.
perfect from
Yep.
what do they say in Australia? I was gonna say like
don't
Mate.
cheerio, but I don't think that's right. What? Oh yeah.
Mate.
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 Okay,
Mate.
yeah.
Yeah, mate.
We'll be
Yeah.
watching, mate.
Uh,
Okay.
but that's the event for me. It's I like going to the, what was it? I went to Colorado to, not Colorado. I went to Kansas to, dang, I'm brain farting. But basically, I will go out to Veterans PCS. There you go. Go out to Veterans PCS and just really educating them on the Fayetteville market, if they're PCS in here. So those are the kind of events I like to go to. But it's really right this year. It's just family focused. Australia this summer. My mom is taking us out to Florida and for Thanksgiving. Like my calendar's literally built around family events.
That's
So,
awesome.
It is.
Where in Australia are you going, and have you been before?
I have been to Australia three or two times. Sorry.
Nice.
Yeah, it's in Brisbane area. It's beautiful. I mean, like their winters is like 75 degrees,
Oh,
and they think it's cold, and I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds
So-
perfect.
Dude,
Yep.
I love Australia. Oh my
Yep.
God, I love it. You're gonna have a
So-
blast.
Oh,
How-
yep.
Oh, yep. How can we help you in your business?
How can we? I really thought about this, and what I've learned is that the more I help other people, the better my business is. So I would say, if you want some help in what I do, I have no problem helping you out. Other ways to help me, obviously, I'm a listing agent. So if you know anybody anywhere, everywhere, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and connect to those social medias. And I've got some information, just trying to educate people, especially on TikTok. Real talk, TikTok is probably where I do my little short videos, and it's very uncomfortable for me, but because I'm like 40 ancient, but it's fun sometimes too. So
What's-
just laughing at yourself in your 40s. So
First, dude, what's your handle? Is that even what they call it on TikTok? TikTok handle.
I don't know what they call it.
I
What
think
are
that's
you?
what they call it.
Yeah, we want to know where people can find you.
Where can we
specifically.
at you?
Yeah.
So it's Raul Buys Houses, and it's very intentional because I'm turning a corner of doing flips. So I literally want to buy some more houses and flip them in the Fayetteville, Rayford, the Camerons, all those kind of things. So, yep, Raul Buys Houses.
On everything?
And then
Instagram, TikTok, everything?
So that's TikTok. On Instagram and Facebook, it's Raul.Medina JR0. That's what it is on both of those.
And we'll put those in the show notes as well. So guys, you can always find him in the show notes. And then also, you know this, but just in case, you can find Allie at Allie the Agent, and then me at The Shelby Show on Instagram. Come and hang with us, shoot us a DM. And yeah, guys, Raul, thank you so much for today. That's all we have for today.
You're welcome. This is
Thank
great.
you, Raul.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
Appreciate
And for those that want that seller net sheet, it is there. It's free. It's free.
Yep.
TheAgentGoldmine.com.
You got questions, just reach out.
Yep. Okay, guys, you know what to do.
Be a bro and share this show.
Thanks for listening, dude. If you want the golden nugget that this guest provided, see the show notes or just go straight to theagentgoldmine.com. That's where we keep the resources for you. Till next time.